Golden State Media Concepts social media podcast. Time to hashtag everything. We talk about all the fun, crazy stories on social media. From Instagram to Facebook, Twitter to Tumblr, or probably even Friendster. Join us each week as we explore the quirky side of social media. It's the Golden State Media Concepts social media podcast.
It's simple, such a sad song. The one that we rely on to get us.
Hello and welcome to the GSMC Social Media News Podcast, brought to you by GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Stacy.
And I'm your co-host, Sarah.
And today our first story is not a big story, but just something people might want to be aware of, which is that Twitter is urging all its users to change their passwords.
Yes, they are.
You heard about this?
Well, because every podcast here at the GSMC Podcast Network has a Twitter account, I've gotten 20 emails.
Well, then, yes, I would hope you would know after about like the first 4 or so.
Yeah.
So, yes, evidently somewhere in Twitter's mainframe server's computer, the thing that the people in Twitter can see, there was a glitch that caused some passwords to be stored in readable text instead of being disguised by what they call hashing. Twitter doesn't actually think that anyone, stole or misused or did anything nefarious with these passwords, but they're just sort of urging people to better safe than sorry, I guess. Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, given, I'm sure Twitter wants to avoid any sort of scandal a la the Facebook Cambridge Analytica scandal. So it's like, Let us be open right away.
They do not want to go testify in front of Congress.
No. Or, that whole thing is going on and on. And so Twitter's like, you know what? They can have that problem. We are going to be nice and good and tell you all, even though we don't think anything happened from this, we're not going to keep secrets. Please change your passwords.
just change your passwords.
Possibly, now we're out of liability. We told you so. If you didn't do it and something happens, it's all on you.
Right.
I guess. Maybe. I don't know. But there was also this story I really like about the run for underachievers, which I kind of, why does this not exist where I live? This would be the one run in my life I'd actually want to do.
It sounds like something I could do. So
there's a Facebook event that was made in Bern. How do you say this city?
Boerne. Yeah, Bern.
Born? I don't know.
What country is it in?
I'm pretty sure it's in America.
Okay. See, I didn't
we don't even know that either.
Let me look it up.
Yes. We're not sure. Wherever this event is, for a very fun, tongue-in-cheek event that will lampoon the typical 5K. So, hey, I'm kind of just I'm kind of all for anything that lampoons any serious running thing. I hate running. It's
in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. And it was named in author of a Jewish German author and publicist.
But is it Bern or Born?
I'm still going to say Bern, but
Texas people, let us know.
Yeah, and don't hate us. Don't yell at us.
I've never been to Texas except for layovers, so I do apologize.
I used to live there, but
it's all Sarah's fault.
I am not familiar with it is pronounced Born.
Born.
Oh wait, no, it is commonly mispronounced Born by out-of-towners.
Uh-huh.
The correct way to say this name is Bernie. Emphasis on the knee, Bernie.
Yeah, I don't think
neither of us came up with that one.
No.
So, okay, we apologize, residents of Bernie, Texas. There are like 10,000 of you, so hopefully none of you listen to this podcast to be mad at me. No.
Hopefully you all went to this run and had a good time, and therefore will forgive us.
Let's go back to the run.
So this run, rather than being a 5K, is a 0.5K. Which, how many feet even is that? Because I know a 5K...
5K is like 3 miles, something.
3 something miles. So, what is that, a tenth? 100? I don't even know. Whatever it is, it sounds much more doable than a 5K.
So it's 0.5, not 0.05?
0.5.
0.5.
And it's also really, it's almost like a beer run in that early arrivals will get a pint of beer And then the race heads to a brewery where participants will receive another pint of beer after 0.5K. Just like finish that beer, walk for 20 minutes, go get another beer.
Also has donuts, coffee, and a smoking rest stop.
A smoking rest stop.
In case you can't make it the full 0.5K without a
that
smoke
all
break.
the serious runners are like, yeah, I have to do without. You're like, you know what? We're going to throw them all in there. Donuts and beer and smoking. Super healthy. And all the people who finished the race receive, and this is an actual quote, a pretentious oval Euro-style 0.5K sticker that you can attach to your rear windshield to show everyone what a badass you are.
Nice.
For finishing 0.5K.
Nice.
I did it.
It is for charity, so at least there's that.
But I mean, I love the fact that in recent years, it's not just, let's run a 5K, a marathon, or whatever on streets, and that's it, and that's all it is. But that now they're starting to make, fun runs. Like, I kind of want to do a Tough Mudder, but at the same time, I think I would die to do a Tough Mudder.
I kind of want to do one of the color races.
The color races seem kind of fun.
Yeah. So a 0.5K is 546 yards.
That's doable. Yeah. That's definitely doable.
There's 3 feet in a yard.
Right.
It's about 1,500.
Yeah, that's
a little over.
That's not even a mile.
Nope.
So, yeah, definitely want to do that. But like, I really want to do a color run on Holi because it's just like I'm sure that must exist somewhere, but I haven't seen it to have a color run on actual Holi. Please, if someone does know about that, let me know because I need to do that next year when that happens. I did Holi once at college. That was really fun.
Yes,
they just did it on the main.
There's got to be one
square,
somewhere, don't you think? I mean, you can't be the only person that has thought of this.
You celebrate Holi, and there are color runs. Why wouldn't you just naturally put that together?
Is there something about celebrating Holi that you're not supposed to run?
If that was the case, we definitely failed. Because if you went with your friends when I went to Holi, there was definitely some fights going on and running happening to get away from the friend who's now pissed at you because they've got blue dust in their eyes or something.
Yes.
Holi is really fun if you haven't done it, by the way. It's the Indian... I'm going to call it Indian Festival of Colors, though I'm not sure that's the proper title.
And I know I've seen the word. How do you spell it?
Holi, which is why I'm pronouncing it Holi, but I'm not sure that's the case either.
Right.
It might be Holly, and I'm doing this completely wrong, which I also apologize for. But it generally consists of people getting wet and then throwing colored cornstarch at each other.
Yes.
And it's a lot of fun. It was my Facebook profile picture for a while because it was just great and I had a really good time.
Well, yeah.
So that plus running.
Exactly.
Awesome.
There has to be let me just type it in and see if there's a Holy Front. Ugh, I can't even say it.
I kind of now want to create a run. And I'm not even sure what that would be, like a book trivia run or... I don't know. What kind of run would you have?
A book trivia run.
Run and answer questions and then run some more.
No, that sounds... that I don't know if that sounds fun or not.
I know. It's a little hard.
Can it be like a marathon reading session?
How would you run with that?
No. We're not talking about running.
Oh. You're like, screw running. We're not talking about that at all.
Put marathon in there.
So we don't want to do running at all. We're going to completely hijack this and make it something else.
No, what kind of a run could we do? Yeah, a book themed. We'd have to come up with something for a book themed run.
Or well, you could do it like with the I was gonna say a theme that's. I do remember when I lived in San Francisco for a while, there were two things. They took that really winding street,
Lombard.
Yeah, and they made it into a was it Candyland or Chutes and Ladders, board game, a live action board game. And I was like, you know what, I'd do that. But then also for Halloween for a few years, and they probably still do this. I don't live in San Francisco anymore, so I don't know. They did this thing called Run Till the End of the Night or something.
Okay.
Which is it's kind of like Warriors, real life Warriors, The Warriors, if you've ever seen that movie. Where you can do this in teams. You have to go to certain checkpoints. And you're only allowed to either go on foot or use public transit, but there are these other people trying to catch you before you get to those checkpoints. And so if they catch you before then you kind of lose. And that I kind of really, I wanted to like dress up as the Warriors and go into that just to get with the theme, because it really did make me think of the Warriors the whole time of like, okay, now I've got to escape this gang and then avoid that gang.
Right. Now, back to our book themed run. I mean, it could just be that you dress up as your favorite literary character, because there's lots of runs where you dress
Right.
up. So that could be something, and then see if people can guess your favorite literary character.
Or have like a mix of that and Run to the End of the Night, where there's different tasks you have to do and you have to get by certain literary characters.
Nice. Yes. Like you have to, it'd be kind of like Alice in Wonderland a little bit, you know,
Yeah.
or in the first Harry Potter book where they have all the different things they have to get by to get into the Chamber of Secrets.
Right.
Or that's not the first. Yes, it is.
Chamber of Secrets is the second one, but they did have to get through a bunch of stuff in the first one.
In Sorcerer's Stone, they didn't get to the Chamber of Secrets, but never mind. I have read them like 92 times. I'm tired.
But no, you just now made me think of this sing-along video I had as a kid that was filmed at Disneyland. And in one of them, and I do not remember the song, but there was all the like Disney villains. So there was like Maleficent and the evil queen from Snow White, but in her hag version, and Captain Hook. And I now I'm just picturing that of like having to get past the Disney villains somehow to get wherever you're going. Someone please make that a reality. That would be really great.
I like it. We have all these ideas today. People, get on these.
Yes, we have all these ideas. Someone else do them, please. So while you're doing that, we're going to take a short break, and we expect you to have finished it when we come back. So stay tuned. You're listening to the GSMC Social Media News Podcast.
Always on the go, but the day just won't be one without your Hollywood fix. Let Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast take care of that. An all-inclusive look of pop culture.
Welcome back to the GSMC Social Media News Podcast. This next story is, on the one hand, I can't believe this is as controversial as it is, which is that the Boy Scouts have changed their name, kind of. Yes, but no, not officially.
Okay.
So they've changed the name of the program. The organization is still Boy Scouts of America or whatever, but the main program is now called Scouts BSA. And that's sort of going along with, they changed the, I guess, the younger version of that to just be Cub Scouts or something without any sort of gender thing. Or it was always Cub Scouts and they started letting girls in.
Right. I think it's always been Cub Scouts.
I was not a scout of any kind, so I don't know. I have no scouting skills.
I was a brownie for about 5 minutes until we had to sell cookies, and I didn't like selling cookies to people that I didn't know.
I like buying the cookies and eating the
I think my
cookies.
mom bought a box, and I was like, that's good.
Right. I hated that in school. Just even without being a scout, they had school fundraisers.
Yes.
And I was like, why? I don't want to.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Boy Scouts has now changed their name to Scouts BSA, and they're going to start letting Girl Scouts in. Or, excuse me, letting girls in. This, however, has really upset the Girl Scouts.
Okay. And it says that they'll still have separate units for boys and girls?
Yes.
So they're not actually like...
Co-ed, no.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah. So the Girl Scouts are upset. They say they didn't even know this was happening. They feel blindsided. And this seems to be a move by Boy Scouts to sort of make up for falling enrollment numbers. That
Because of all the controversy over the last 10, 15 years?
That probably has to do with it.
Yeah.
But that numbers have definitely fallen in recent years, and they don't have as many as they used to. And so to make up for that, okay, let's now let in girls. But the Girl Scouts are like, we've totally already been doing that for the whole time we've existed. So what are you doing trying to take our enrollment numbers from us? And that, I'm actually surprised because I totally thought they were just from the same organization.
Right. I was actually just thinking about that. I've never thought about who the parent organization is or whatever for Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. I guess I should have.
Why aren't you from the same organ? And why weren't you made into like a dual organization like decades ago. Doesn't that seem like you guys should have joined together in partnership years and years and years ago?
Think so, but apparently not.
So, yeah. So this has raised a lot of eyebrows, particularly with people who are sort of on the Girl Scout side of Girl Scouts already does this and does it well. We don't need the Boy Scouts to do this. And this is them just trying to steal people away from the Girl Scouts, and it won't offer the same sort of level as the Girl Scouts already offer, because there's evidently like a alumni networking or something. Mm-hmm. Are you an alumni of the Girl Scouts?
I doubt it, because I was only in there for about 5 minutes.
Well, I didn't mean you.
Oh, okay. Are you? Oh, are you? Like in general, when you? I would assume so. I don't know if that's what they call it.
Yeah, there's a something where like grown women who were Girl Scouts still are able to like network and get support from each other, and that's part of their thing of saying why the Boy Scouts can't do this as well. But I think it's also like, if you're not even going to have them in the same units, what's the point? Because don't the Girl Scouts actually do most of what the Boy Scouts do? And also sell cookies?
and the Boy Scouts sell popcorn.
Oh, do they?
And probably other things.
I've never known that.
Yeah, Gosh, I just realized that I don't know enough about the Girl Scouts. I know that they, at one point, or that, they were the Girl Guides. Or like in England, they're the Girl Guides.
Right.
I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or maybe that's where the founder got her idea for it.
I mean, no, there is. I remember reading a book about just like the history of camping in America, and that there was sort of a controversy from some scouting thing that was started somewhere in England and then brought over here. But then I don't think it was the Boy Scouts. I think the Boy Scouts were something else, and they started, but they did a lot of the same things and sort of used that one as a basis off of it. And then, and I apologize if that's not actually the Boy Scouts and the Boy Scouts were the original, but there were two sort of competing different scouting things. Mm-hmm. And it seemed that the second one basically used the first one and like all their things that they did, but didn't give them credit. And so there was a controversy about that, but I don't know which one is which and what they ended up becoming.
Right. Well, it sounds like there was, I'm just doing a really quick read through of this, but it sounds like there was Girl Guides, there was Girl Scouts, there was Campfire Girls, and they tried to merge at some point, and there was controversy.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, this contention.
Is amazingly contentious for, I don't think of that contention normally when I think of Girl Scouts.
Right. I mean, mostly when you think of Girl Scouts, you think of the cookies, although they do a lot more than just that. They
definitely do. Although I totally do think of A, Thin Mints, and B, Troop Beverly Hills. So, I've seen that movie probably more times than I really should have.
Wow, that's impressive.
And they are not the Girl Scouts, by the way, in that they're the Wilderness Girls or something like that.
I honestly haven't seen that movie since junior high, so it's been a while.
But yeah, I can almost sing along with that song, but I won't, because no. But yeah, so I clearly don't know anything beyond the cookies about the Girl Scouts. And even with the cookies, I don't know all the cookies because I only really like Thin Mints, and I'll stick them in the freezer.
And it depends on where you live. Here's what I know about Girl Scout cookies. So growing up, I liked my favorite Girl Scout cookie when I was growing up, they were called Samoas.
Aren't they still?
Nope. Depends on where you live.
Oh.
Then I moved to Pennsylvania, where they are Caramel Delights.
Huh.
So, and there's something else. Tagalongs.
Never heard of it.
Are the peanut butter ones. So growing up, they were tagalongs, and in other places, they're peanut butter patties.
Wow.
Or peanut butter, whatever they call them here. Yeah. That's my story.
I did not know that, because again, I only like the one, and I'm pretty sure here they're still called Samoa or Samoans, one of the two.
Yeah, is it Samoas or Samoans?
I'm not even
sure. I
sure.
think it's Samoas, but I could be wrong.
But yes, I did not know that, huh?
Yeah.
I did see that article recently about the homeless Girl Scout troop in New York.
Oh.
That like way oversold their goal. I think their goal was to sell 500 or 5,000 or something, and they ended up selling like way past that, like by a multiple or something. And it was just like, A, wow, bravo, good for you.
Yeah.
But also, B, how is the whole troop homeless? Or
well, maybe it's organized around like a transitional homeless shelter or something along those lines. I really don't know.
Because and again, I only know this, I'm only basing this off of Truth Beverly Hills. It seems to be normally organized by like location, right?
Again, I grew up in a town of 1,000 people. We had a Girl Scout troop, but
Right.
it was the only one around.
The only option.
So
yeah, we actually don't know basically anything about Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts, but they seem to be at a sort of, if not loggerheads, maybe approaching a bit of a Cold War right now, as they both deal with falling enrollment numbers, and now both have girls. But I'm pretty sure the girls I now want to know if like the Girl Scouts could let boys in, and what would be the response to that.
I don't see why they both can't have both boys and girls.
And even more so like co-ed units.
Yeah.
Like, fine, obviously, when you go on a camping trip, you wouldn't put them in the same tent, but I don't understand why they can't be together for all the other... The reasoning that the Boy Scouts gave for separate units is they were afraid that if girls were in units with boys, they wouldn't have as many opportunities for, like, leadership or something. Okay. And it's not clear if they thought that would be because the boys wouldn't listen to the girls, or if the girls would feel sort of cowed by the boys. But they wanted the girls to sort of be confident enough to go for their own leadership positions and not have to deal with that in a co-ed situation, I guess. Right.
Now, in answer to your question, it is Troop 6000 is a Girl Scout troop especially designed to serve girls in the New York City shelter system.
Uh-huh.
So there you go.
Yes. And I imagine troops in New York probably are just complicated, period, because it's New York. And
I'm sure there's a million of them.
Just how you do zip codes and area codes, anything in New York, I'm just like, I what? So.
Yeah, other fun fact, the entire state of Montana, one area code.
Yes, I saw that on a phone map once, and I was just like, wait, what?
In fact, growing up, we only had to ever dial the last 4 digits for in-town calling.
Wow.
And then when I was about 18 or 19, then he had to start dialing the prefix. So he had to dial 7. It was so confusing for a long time because anyway.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. So I'm uber confused on a number of things, both Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, but also Sarah's upbringing. So we're going to take a short break while I get my thoughts back together. Stay tuned.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the GSMC Social Media News Podcast. Our final story today is most definitely controversial, and I do not know what's going on with Kanye West. So we reported I won't say reported. We talked about a few episodes ago that he returned to Twitter after not quite a year break and decided to write a philosophy book as he tweeted. And then he did several things, basically saying how much he loves Donald Trump. And now he's essentially called slavery a choice. He was giving an interview at TMZ, and he basically said that for it to have lasted 400 years, and for those of you who actually do sort of know your history and are thinking, wait a minute, the first pilgrims were like in 1600 something and Civil War was 1860s. That's not 400. He's basically bringing it to today because of the, things that are still going on, saying that for that to have lasted 400 years, that sounds like a choice. And thankfully, there was a staff member in the TMZ newsroom, not the one who was interviewing him. This guy was sitting at his desk, but I guess could hear him, and stood up and basically said, "You're wrong. I respect that you're, living your life and you've become as successful as you have. But for you to say that discounts what regular everyday people are going through in their regular lives. And I'm hurt and appalled that you would say such a thing."
And he was so much more eloquent than I ever could have been in that situation. I mean, he was clearly angry and upset, but he didn't yell. He didn't use improper language.
Right.
Like all the things that you can do when you're upset like that. He was very eloquent and very well spoken. And I was like, you go, dude, because I would have either just like gotten tongue-tied or, I don't know, screamed because I couldn't get things to come out the way I wanted them to.
It is definitely hard to fully get your thoughts out when you feel that emotional. And he definitely, you could tell from the video that he felt emotionally about this. Like, what the heck are you saying? But thankfully, Twitter, being Twitter, decided that, you know what? That is a ridiculous statement. That is the craziest statement possibly. I might just call it as the craziest statement this year. I'm sure the internet will prove me wrong as 2018 goes on.
Oh, yeah. Give it time.
For now, I'm going to call it the craziest statement this year, and decided to completely troll Kanye with the hashtag "if slavery was a choice." And this, it's hard. Some of them, it's like, okay, I'm not to the level of, okay, I'm okay with this enough that was funny, but some of them were actually pretty funny. Like, there was several that were comparing plantations to universities and colleges. Okay. So there were things like, your reaction when you don't get into your first choice plantation.
Oh, God.
And it's just like, wow. Wow. I'd actually really like to know who started that trend.
Right.
Without not just like, oh my God, did you see what Kanye said? But decided, you know what? No, we're going to meme this.
Right. And it's brilliantly horrifying, actually.
It is.
Some of them, I'm sure. Some of them, I'm sure, are just horrifying.
It's that level of, I can't believe the heck you just said. No one would ever think this ridiculousness. So there's several of and this also got things a lot with Massa. Not Master. Massa. Massa is used a lot. But talking about, if Massa tries to whip you, call HR, which of course obviously did not exist for slaves. Or, deciding to get on the slave ship, which was my first thought when I heard he said that. I was like, what? Do you
right.
Did you take any sort of history class?
Pick me
about how they were taken on the slave ships and crammed in like sardines, and a good portion of them died on that several month trip across the Atlantic? What history did you learn that you're saying such a thing? Like, what?
Yeah, I actually read a really great article on this, and I can't find it now, but it was just talking about how this is so much bigger than even Kanye saying something that sounds really, like most of us think it sounds really dumb.
Yes.
But this whole idea of, we live in this individualistic, pull yourself up by your own bootstraps society, and everything is a choice, etc. And it's kind of developed into this whole thing. But to say... see, I'm glad I didn't have to argue with him in the moment, because I still can't even formulate real sentences.
Well, I think I might have cried if I had to do it, because I would have been so frustrated. A, at anyone saying that just ever, but B, you are a really famous person. A lot of people look up to you and listen to you and follow you, and you're saying this on camera because this is the TMZ newsroom and that camera is totally in your face.
Yes.
And you're wearing a mic. And
please, can we stop with the victim blaming? I mean, this is...
How could you possibly say such a thing?
This is a huge example of victim... I mean, it's like a monstrous, disgusting example of victim blaming.
Right? And I mean, you've got to imagine that, his ancestors who actually were slaves are rolling over in their graves.
I would think so. Hey, ancestors, you need to haunt him. Please?
I can't even, I remember I had... Yeah, again, I probably would be tongue-tied if I didn't like bust into frustrated tears.
Yeah,
just the
tears.
thought that and he's not. If this is a joke, this is a really sick joke.
It's
and
in very poor taste.
Gone on too long. I don't know what's going on with Kanye West, but that is just the worst thing. Again, I'm calling it right now for the year. The worst thing I've ever heard, maybe just in my life. How could you possibly, just, if nothing else, by basic definition, if you've ever looked in any dictionary, the basic definition of slavery is not a choice.
No choice in there.
That is like the almost exact opposite of choice.
Mm-hmm.
What the heck are you talking about? And then to act like, yeah, okay, so we have the Civil War and we ended slavery and all's good now. No, it's not. That's not how that worked.
And I don't want to give him any benefit of the doubt, but are we worried about mental illness with this man? I mean, he seems like his personality has done a complete 180. You know, he used to be kind of all like, capitalism is awesome. Didn't he once say that Bush hates all black people? President Bush hates black people, and now he's like all on board with President Trump. And we're not making this political, but it feels like he's gone a 180 in his personality and his leanings.
Yes, yeah, there was definitely a lot of comments of what's going on with him, life-wise, mental-wise. He doesn't seem to be okay. Should we be worried, or is he getting help? There was definitely comments that people made about that.
Yeah, and he's raising children.
Well, I'm even more so again than the children is you are super well known and people follow everything you say, and a lot of people look up to you and want to be like you. Don't you at that point have a responsibility to, say true things? And where are you getting this crazy idea that, again, by basic definition of the dictionary, is completely false?
Exactly.
It's I don't know. I mean, again, I applaud that man, Van Lathan, who stood up to him in the TMZ newsroom.
And it's all on video, so just go on YouTube and you can watch him.
I also applaud at least some of the people who used this and went on and made a meme of it, because by all means, yes, be sarcastic and snarky. Mm-hmm. I don't know that beyond the... Van Lathan did it so well and so eloquently, I don't know that there's any other response you could have at this point. You'd have a hard time saying that better than he did it. So just go be snarky on Twitter. That's all we have to do now. There's nothing else you can do on this. Just be snarky on Twitter.
That seems like a really great point to wrap up on. Just go be snarky on Twitter.
On that note, we hope you all go be snarky on Twitter and have a good day. Thank you for listening to the GSMC Social Media News Podcast.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Social Media Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.